Hi everybody, this is introducing you to Mary Tyers, who leads a very ecumenical Christian meditation group that's based at the Catholic Church, and she also represents All Saints at Ashbourne Churches Together. I got to know Mary first through attending a Christian meditation group that she organises that meets every Wednesday at the Catholic Church. I've since met her at Lent lunches and through Ashbourne Churches Together. I asked Mary if she'd talk to you today about Christian meditation. But first of all, Mary, perhaps you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, just a bit about myself. I'm a retired registered dietitian, so I worked in the NHS for nearly 4 decades as a registered health professional. I'm part of the Catholic congregation, but have a very ecumenical heart. I'll talk to you today about a very ancient form of prayer, and it's really been part of Christianity from the word go, starting with Jesus, who used to go into the desert and pray to be by himself, and spent 40 days there once, 40 days and 40 nights. The early centuries of the church, the deserts, fathers and mothers, they used to pray silently, obviously on their own. And really until certainly 1,000 years ago, was an integral part of the way that Christians connected with God. And somehow or other it got lost. It's really only in the past, there was a few people, like for example, St. Julian of Norwich and other mystics that tried to keep the tradition of meditating, sitting silently with God, in other words, going. But it was really in the past 40 years or so that a Benedictine monk called Father John Main made a very concerted effort to bring this form of prayer back into mainstream Christianity. And there's now a world community for Christian meditation. In the UK, there are around 500 groups with taking place in prisons and church halls and universities, all over schools and so on. So it's an ancient form of prayer, one of many forms of prayer, as you've been hearing, and forming one spoke of a wheel, with the centre of the wheel being God, if you like. And I became interested in meditation, Christian meditation, probably 15 years ago. I was going through a period of feeling a bit disenfranchised with the institution, and a couple of people suggested it to me as a sort of direct way of being with God and still praying, but going through that kind of phase, which I'm sure many people would recognise that they've possibly been through. So yeah, I started to read more online. There are a couple of websites that I'll mention again later that tell you more, and I went to lots of sort of courses and things, and set up a group in Alton in Staffordshire at one time, but now we've been running a successful group in Ashbourne for about 4 years, nearly 4 years. And we, in these days of coronavirus, have had to move it online, but it's a very strong community, and we've had 2 other people join us in that time. So if I just explain maybe how to meditate now, is that about thing to do, Amanda?
Yeah.
So it's very simple, but it's really a discipline rather than a technique per se, but it involves sitting still, and the only sort of rule is to have an upright back, so you can sit with your legs crossed, you can sit on in the chair, but it's not a form of relaxation. You need to be alert, and that's the reason for having an upright back. So you have your eyes lightly closed, and if you like, you can say watch your breath for a few times, just to settle yourself, because we always arrive with lots of things going on for us, don't we, into these periods of prayer. And then you start saying a prayer word, and you say that over and over again in the period of meditation, which starts small, but ideally would be 20 minutes twice a day. That's the thing to lead up to. There is a recommended prayer word. You can use whatever you like: Jesus, love, peace, etc. But the danger is that any of those kind of words have associations for us with other things. and they can form a springboard for distractions. So the recommended word is Maranatha, which is an Aramaic word, the language Jesus himself used, and it means "Come, Lord." And you repeatedly say Maranatha, Maranatha. That's a good recommended word, but it is personal choice. So that's it really. That is all that Christian meditation entails. The trick is really as well not to evaluate. Don't sort of be cross yourself or think, oh, I was so distracted, that was absolutely hopeless, or I'm wasting the time. You're not. It's the way God made us. Our minds are very distracted, very, very distracted. You will find during a period of meditation that your mind does gradually settle, maybe 15 minutes, so if it's 20-minute period, eventually we'll arrive at more of a stillness. But the big thing is, apart from it being a way of connecting with God, and this is where my former medical kind of linked career comes in, there are well-respected bodies, a well-respected body of evidence now that meditation has beneficial effects on both physical health, for example, in blood pressure, and in mental health, on anxiety and depression, but a whole gamut of other things. And brain scans, for example, of meditators are different to those of non-meditators. So it's kind of quite clear now that it's a good thing to do. It's very good. Meditation is good for you. Am I happy, Amanda? Am I just talking about the local?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So as I say, we've been meeting in a physical group, but obviously in this day of coronavirus, that's not possible. So there is the Zoom meeting. I can easily send you a link to that, so you can join whenever you wanted to. But just to mention, there are two excellent websites. There's the WCCM, that's the World Community for Christian Meditation. That's the international website, and it tells you how to meditate. There's lots of free courses on there. You can have an explore and find out more. And then there's also the UK website, christianmeditation.org, which tells you about where local where groups are in the UK. If you know somebody that lives somewhere else, you can find things out like that, and lots more information. And there are generally loads of resources. There's even a whole section, a sub part of the website, the international WCCM website, that's devoted to coronavirus and YouTube videos and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. That's wonderful. Well, I am a member of the group, so I am very pleased that we would promote it, and it is a lovely place to go, and has been helpful to many of us. Not only have we become friends, but we've become more chilled out friends as a result of it. So thank you. Thanks very much for being with us.